In this video, I want to talk about why it's important that you always love yourself more than you love somebody else. Relationships are a very difficult and controversial topic in some senses because it's always about, the man should do more, the woman should do more, men should act like this, or women should act like this. And it's just a whole clusterfuck of different opinions. But one thing that's completely controversial, sorry, not controversial, but one thing that's completely certain is that you should never love somebody else more than you love yourself. How many relationships have you been in where you've shown a lot more love and compassion to somebody else than you've shown it to yourself? And, there's this one question, and every time somebody says it, it gets me, and it makes me feel like an absolute retard. Is somebody says, if you had to list the things that you love, how long would it take for you to list yourself? That's one of the biggest things. Many of us don't love ourselves as much as we think we do or as much as we should. And instead, we seek it from an external source because it's so difficult to come and love yourself. And I think it stems back from maybe your childhood or how you might see and perceive yourself, your self-esteem in general. But the problem with that is that you then go on to make somebody a part of your life. Remember, you're such a complex human being yourself, and then you want to add another complex human being into the mix. And for some people, they end up having kids, and that's a whole different situation. But you're already a complex being yourself with your own wants, desires, and how you might feel about things, your own attitudes. And then you bring somebody else into the mix that has their own problems, things that they might not work on themselves. And quite frankly, loving yourself is a whole lot more harder than you think. You'll come to realize that once you get to a level where you're able to comfortably love yourself, you'll fall back into those patterns where you don't love yourself. And then you're kind of questioning all that work you've done. But that's simply part of the process. However, a lot of people don't realize how hard it is and don't ever end up loving themselves and get into toxic relationships because they're with other people that don't also love themselves. So whenever you've gone into a relationship and you don't love yourself, and then that person doesn't love themselves, it becomes a complete and utter clusterfuck, and it's just a mess everywhere. People get hurt on both sides, and then you're at the end of it, you're wondering, oh, well, what did I do to deserve that? Well, you did everything. You didn't look after yourself, you didn't care about yourself, because if you truly did love yourself and care about yourself, you would have seen the signs of the person that you were speaking to. Maybe, I don't know, they spoke some shit they spoke some shit about you behind your back and you decided to ignore it because you love them. Or maybe they did a certain habit or thing that you never liked and you know you would never put up with, but you allowed your love and your lack of self-esteem to completely mess up your cognitive function. Love yourself before you love somebody else. And what happens is that you will not allow certain bullshit to carry on or happen in the first place. That's why they talk about if you've ever spoken to somebody that you've never actually really liked, you've always put yourself first, and then you've begun to realize that in the end, the person ends up liking you a lot more. It's kind of weird and wicked in its own way, but it begins to show that if you end up loving somebody more than you love yourself, see how that relationship pans out. What usually happens is one of two things. It could be that person also doesn't really like themselves and you guys build like a codependent, shitty relationship structure, or you get ignored by that person because you're expressing too much needy energy. And if they love themselves enough, they might pull back a bit, but still, they might still be interested in you. So that's part of the conversation as well. But loving yourself more than you love somebody else means, one, you're not needy, and two, the person actually likes you more because they see that you're not so codependent on them. The normal, healthy relationship, it isn't bound by insecurity, inadequacy, and a constant feeling of as if the person doesn't like you. A lot of relationships these days are built on this rocky foundation. And what happens is you get with people that end up cheating on you, disrespecting you, and treating you like shit because you don't realize that because you don't love yourself enough, you choose to go with people that also don't love themselves, or they choose to move on from you because they realize that you have inadequacies in yourself. And for somebody like myself that loves myself too much to allow myself to feel like an absolute dickhead to somebody else simply because I don't have some decent level of self-esteem, I could never do that. That used to be me. I used to be that one that chased. I used to be that one that, would be up at 4 in the fucking morning waiting for your call because, oh, I miss you, I liked you. Nah. You're an adult. Start acting like one. I know it might be hard and you might have to have like a specific mindset shift to get out of that pattern of thinking, but you've got to respect yourself more. You can't be somebody's parent. Their parents are there for a reason. If you never met this person, you never would have met this person, and they are, quite frankly, nothing to you. The person that matters the most should be you on a day-to-day basis. Focus on yourself, and you'll start to realize that you only pick out the partners that can truly benefit your life. It's not selfishness, it's selflessness. Because you can only help other people once you've helped yourself. And having a partner that pulls you back only makes you more vulnerable to those that are around you and those that you wish to help. Love yourself before you love someone else. And remember, never forget who you are.